While a large portion of the meta in the Dark Star Cup played out to the predictions, a single comp showed more strength than many believed it to have. My name is Boris, and let's do a quick look here at the stats from the Dark Star Cup. Now, sorting by games, the comp that I am trying to refer to here is the Sniper Xayah, and it came into be played as a 6th most common comp. But if we fertile, for example, here by AVP, we see that with a notable game size, it has the highest AVP. Same goes for top 4 rate. If we do a quick look here, and you see the Dark Star, this is a comp enabled through the Dark Star emblem, so this is a conditional line as well, and beating out even the Fast 9 lines, which gain a lot of traction in the later parts of the tournament where players are playing for those winouts from these strong spots. And if we do also by a win rate, we can see that it's extremely prominent here. Obviously, the Fast 9 is going to be having a higher win rate since these players are playing it from the spots they recognize they can be going for it. But apart from other niche lines that are enabled through certain strong conditions, again, the highest win rate comp in the tournament across all regions. So what exactly changed for this comp to find so much success? Well, for the first part, Xayah's ability got changed from being a duration-based to being attack-based spell. And this ties into our revelation also that Rageblade is not a good item on Xayah at all. Red buff sorts out that utility for you and is going to have more upfront power, which nicely synergizes together with the Jhin pairing that has that first cast burst, allowing you to take out the weak targets pretty early on into the fight. Otherwise, her build is going to be ideally double Kraken, but Deadblade or GS is going to be fine. You will note this comp is extremely bow and sword hungry. Therefore, definitely be playing this from a bow opener with a sword considerable, but you're going to be wanting a lot of bows. So I would prio that first. Also, Fountain got reintroduced. While it's not the best constellation to be playing around, it's an option, especially if you're going to be uncontested. Otherwise, we're looking for Serpent, Boar, Altar, and Mountain. Additionally, we found that Samira at 2-star is quite of a stable of a carry to be considering, and is going to be obviously stronger than Xayah 1 simply by the fundamentals, and she can hold these both Xayah and better even Jhin items quite well. So you're fine to be playing her until you find that single star Jhin. The second major point is how we are going to be approaching our board. Instead of playing around this Rammus, which is extremely contested in the current meta, with the Yi falling out of favor, Dom Kench as your frontliner is going to be a lot more prominent of an option, plus provides you with that opportunity to farm resources, and this extremely nicely ties into the Maokai and Aatrox pairing. With Aatrox sorting out that Sunder for ourselves, we are able to improve our item quality on the carries and as well as tanks, plus we are able to cap around the Blitzcrank as well, and this way we're also going to be more reliably getting traits online for our Rast. Now that's in short about the changes to the comp. I've pinned the updated cheat sheet also in the link down description, and now let's jump in the VOD review from the Dark Star Cup with Wasian Iverson. Jumping in game here with Wasian Iverson from day 1 of the Dark Star Cup. Our gods for the game are going to be Ahri and Varus. As well, he already checked his Stargazer, it is going to be the Boar. Definitely something you can consider if you have a stronger early opener where you can play around to generate a little bit of an extra econ. Otherwise, it's just going to be completely fine, especially if it allows you to get away from contesting some of these other lines. We are starting out in an upgraded 1 cost encounter as well, and we have this Rek'Sai, therefore definitely would be angling to be playing around some form of Primordial opener, another opener that can greatly transition into this board due to the fact that Bel'Veth simply uses these attack speed items greatly, and it's going to provide you a little bit of an extra econ. Since the comp is so good, like so strong, you are completely fine to be lost streaking or mixed streaking into it as long as you are able to secure that Xayah 2. Quickly evaluating our board state again, we are not particularly excited about our slams. We have the Protector's Vow, which is an amazing item in the line, obviously, for the Nunu. And we have a Kali, I believe it could be on a pair, but did not find that Bel'Veth. Otherwise, we do not have that much damage going on for ourselves, especially without a damage slam. Therefore, would be considering potentially playing a little bit of a lost streak angle right here. Survivor, obviously something that players are not most likely going to be taking, especially in the group stage where they want to be securing consistent placements. Branching out could provide you with somewhat of a clear direction if you wanted to, but you would also want to be utilizing this emblem as a potential for your tempo. Latent Forge has quite a lot of hits in the current meta. For example, the default Corky Riven line uses so many artifacts so well. And since we're playing for lost streak, we are completely fine to be giving up that early power. Therefore, probably leaning towards that team building for your rerolls, for your Lulus. Fine also on 2-1 for something like the Lissandra reroll, or for simply a tempo play. Band of Thieves, amazing. If we had something like a Briar 2 and that Belvet secured here, then could try to streak off that by the TG slam, which is amazing for that. However, we do not have that, therefore Latent Forge is most likely going to be our pick, and he seems to agree. We have also picked up that Gragas with the Pike. Gives us a potential to play around. Pike is a great melee unit to be playing around in these earlier stages of the game, but we have the potential to sell here everything we have held on to make 10. So let's see if he's going to be making that play. We're scouting around the lobby, seeing what lines have been taken, seeing a Challenger emblem there. Also Expedition with absolutely amazing augment, and we do opt to go for that Vow Slam. Now, I would believe it's completely fine to be giving up on the Aatrox at this point of the game. You're most likely going to find at least a single copy, but we win this fight, so we are opt to give up for it. Picking up an Ezreal. I believe he might be already in his back of his mind, since we have this open bow, considering the potential to be playing around the Xayah line as an option. Since we have made that slam, that's more angling towards the Nunu, obviously completely fine on Rammus, but we do not have the sword but to give me the green light for us to be considering playing into the some form of a Corki Riven line. Otherwise, we are still also fine if we somehow manage to string together a win streak to be transitioning into any form of an AP board, obviously, if the items sort out the way they do. Since simply holding on to these Timebreaker units can provide quite a bit of value, especially if you're able to win streak. We see there's another Primordian player in the lobby playing around that. We see there's a Rammus already coming in, so that player most likely angling going some form of a Corki Riven board right there. Slightly magical roll from Motive is an augment that I would prefer when you have a stronger board. Otherwise, if you roll something like an HP right there, you are not going to be able to capitalize on it as much. And I said we're going to be having a lost streak board, but it's amazing how we have the matchmaking has worked out. We have managed to secure ourselves a 3 streak with quite a bit of damage lacking on our board, but the Primordial scaling and the slam that we've made has simply allowed us to have the gap that be necessary. Now, for our gold offering right here, I believe just simply taking 6 gold from Ari is going to be getting a little bit more. Now, the Varus would obviously give us that Lawi pair and will lead us more towards that AP line, perhaps, with the Shepherds. Otherwise, Lawi 2 is also a strong tank, but we do not have the pair, and they would gamble on us hitting, and I do not think that this is the play we're going to be going for. Instead, we are going to get 6 gold, and now we have a decision where we have to decide between... We gave up on that Ezreal, unfortunately, so we do not have an Ezreal too, and if we are scouting and seeing that the Xayah might be open, then definitely picking up this bow is our first prio, as that gives us the red buff, which we could also immediately slam right away, as opposed to something like a Giant Slayer from that Ezreal. Flexible item in all the lines and still remaining open for the possibilities playing into possibly something else. But holding on to these rogue pairs right here, still holding on to the Salawi, seeing what anything that we can lead down to. We see there's a Hand of Justice slam from Robin Songs with the kickstart. Also has that Belvet too, so a lot of players playing around the Primordians for an opportunity to generate extra gold. Has taken some units out of our pool. Pick up the Jax in the last second, so I do not think we're completely locked into the Xayah line. As you see, there's also, even despite the Challenger emblem, the player has also made the red buff, is playing around those Stargazers, so we have to watch out if they are still going to be simply forcing their way into the Xayah line. And now we have a loss, so we're hoping to finish the stage off on a 2 loss as well, just to maximize our interest gold. Our board is not in the greatest of stage to be winning in the stage 3, since we have not hit any upgrades for the rest of the stage. And he is mapping out the board, but we saw that Jax there to make the econ threshold, opting to hold on to Ilawi simply due to how contested Nunu is. It's completely fine to be running Ilawi 2 for a little while as well, since she's just so strong of a tank. And you can always, with the Rast in game, as a possibility to completely be flexible with whatever you're tagging in, right? We have that open Vanguard slot on level 8. Therefore, if we do not find the Nunu, we are fine to... Well, we are simply completely fine to be playing with every other tank, right? Now, into this Milio 2 player from a kickstart, they'll some high roll his kickstart, managed and then managed to find a Tom Kench and the Rammus, and he's already level 6, so he's going to be absolutely tempoing in this with the Rammus pair. Holy, Now that's a game for the ages for him. We are still down our augment, and right now, looking at it, we have the red buff, we have an open bow, so our items are great. Holding off from this Rage Blade Slam, as that's not going to be swinging fights for ourselves, and we are on a loss streak right now. It's fine if it doesn't kill us an extra unit, but we would definitely be wanting to have some form of gold, especially since we have the potential to be contested. Therefore, gain gold is going to be amazing. High voltage, all these AP lines prefer a Void Staff bomb, most of them, and we do not need it for our plan since we are most likely leaning, already decided for leaning into the AD line. Crashless Dummies is a fine combat augment if you have the chance, but we are not in a win streak position, and we definitely want that gold to secure that Xayah 2 for ourselves. Now, thankfully, Robin Songs here seems to have slammed the Hodge and the Sterax, so does not seem to be most likely contesting us. Mace's Will is something you can definitely consider if you are going to be able to ensure that you're going to get to the Jhin. Extra critical strike chance is nice, but Xayah is not going to be running crit for herself. Defaulting this gain gold here, as we're simply definitely looking for an econ augment. And Bronze for Life, since you're running Rust, is something you can consider. Any comp that runs Rust can't consider the Bronze for Life augment, but again, we need gold, we're taking gold. Despite it being an Ari encounter, still, more gold doesn't hurt, and we'd go with an aggressive option to level to 7 here as well. That is something that it enables for ourselves. Find that Belvet, able to make the econ back that way as well. Simply wanting to kill as many units as we can, as we see the lobby is quite strong. And Sappho here definitely, I believe, is angling this Xayah line quite hard. With the red buff and the Kraken, he could also be considering some tempo play into an MF kind of a board, but I did not see him with any MF just yet. Therefore, he just might be utilizing this Challenger emblem as a way for him to gain this early game tempo. As definitely with a Kraken Slam, it's more leaning towards the Xayah for him. Going against another what seems to be potentially quirky Riven player here from Motive. Has that Rammus, has an open sword that they're holding on to most likely for a DB. Extremely strong item in the current meta, and gives us a very hard loss since we are still lacking that frontline damage, that damage for ourselves. Lesser Duplicate in a 3 gold would be something we would want to consider either for reroll or a tempo play. We do not have that right now, and Chest of Greed, well, gives us the econ even more and has the potential to rob some of that econ from the other players who might be leaning it more into these lost streak spots. See that there's a LeBlanc there coming out, most likely looking for some form of a ASOL kind of a board with the item slams, unless they find something like the Rage Blade for that LeBlanc. And we have an option to already pick up a Tom Kench for ourselves, is going to be amazing. And our item anvil, artifact anvil is going to be coming in right away. Our options right here: Static Shift, great in your AP lines. Dawncore is mostly utilized on these lower cost carries, something like Lysandra can utilize as well as Lulu. Silverman Dawn is a generic item that you can just take for the resistances for the tank, just ignore the AD and it's going to be fine. But for ourselves, Collector is amazing, especially later on onto the Jhin. For now, we are looking more in the need of the the backline items. Therefore, Collector, amazing option, can prevent us a little bit even more econ. We haven't been able to play around that board, so we are looking for any form of way we can make econ, and we're going to be definitely quite rich and already farm a single gold right here. Going up against this crit LeBlanc build, definitely playing into an ASOL, and you can see she's just simply so weak that and there are also people glad here playing around the Expedition, so he's not having invested into his board that much. We're just going to snap our lost streak right now. We find that Belvet too, so going to probably transition items to her as well since we have the swap, yeah. And we can slot in the Nunu as well if we wanted to. No, that's not going to make the board stronger for ourselves, not going to do that. But we have the Nunu secured at least already, and that's quite nice of a sign. Since we see that there's also another Tom Kench being pulled out, and we have this Dark Star board from Robin Songs has found Earths and won the fight, I believe, to secure the spatula and secured himself a Dark Star. So I assume with these itemization might be a Dark Star Riven. Hopefully not pulling out any Xayahs from ourselves. Do not have the items to support, so I'll be quite grief. Going to go already to level 8 and start our transition now. Since we took the 21 gold, we have the gold advantage with so many prints. Wanting to secure the Xayahs before the contester rolls. Finding a Blitzcrank, that can pretty much go in immediately if we wanted to, but we have that Rust too, so we might have to reconsider that possibility. Sadly, did not see any Xayahs. Now, the biggest high roll obviously you can have on this level 8 is finding the single Jhin to immediately slot in. That's a lot of power, but otherwise we're fine with the Samira too, as she holds his items so amazingly. have to consider if we are going up giving up on this Kench, we find a new 2, so we are fine in that front, and going to start itemizing our Samira 2 first, since she is upgraded. Simply fundamentals. Obviously 9 gold should be stronger than 4 gold. Secure your units and play from this, especially with the collector and the knockup. She has a little bit also a possibility to farm you some extra gold for ourselves right now. We have rolled down and are far away from this Xayah, so Money Monsoon is something we consider, but will drastically reduce our cap unless we're able to chase a 3-star 4-cost, but we have taken out the Tom Kench. Now build overall something I'm not too excited in this kind of a spot. We have our items sorted out and definitely we've been looking for. Band of Thieves is more in your Fast 9 kind of boards where you have many items to carries to itemize. We right now would have to be tossing a TG with a Blitzcrank and something like a Rast or a Xayah, and we do not have that much value. More of a tempo play if you're going for that. But he seems to default perhaps Band of Thieves here, recognizing that the money, the gold is simply not going to be valuable enough. Find Sweet Treats, we have the one artifact, so we have a little bit of an extra items and perhaps have a potential to hit another one. New Recruit is something you could also be playing. Since you're playing Rust, you can splash in quite a lot of things. Also keeping Samira as another sniper is completely fine for that kind of an option, and has the potential for just a little bit 8 gold. Irv's Grab Bag, well, as I mentioned, we do not have that many uses of these spatulas, therefore probably New Recruit here. Yeah, we do, and we find that Gin and Shop. That is amazing for ourselves, able to drop the Xayah right away, and this also allows us to slot in the TK right away, right? Yeah, amazing. This is going to help us hopefully print a little bit of an econ, but we see TK is contested in many ways in this lobby. But going to see how we go up against here against Sappho, who has rolled and hit that Xayah 2, has Tom Kench 2, has Baron's Lair, so has the combat advantage. But the Jin is already putting in a lot of work, and we were able to clean up their weak side, and their Xayah did not seem to get that much sniper value, I was going to say, but her feathers are able to clear up our backline. That's quite unfortunate for ourselves, but still nice that we managed to kill so many units, so we did not bleed out much. Now on Xayah pair, on TK pair, pretty much would have to be considering sending it to 0 almost every turn right now. Would be hurtful to give up on a Blitz Press. That's also one of the highest cap units in the game that many lines run. Up against this Asol with a double death cap, so it's a little scary, but the Nunu is in that Nunu does not go to the backline, so did not stop the yeah, this could be a no. These fights, man, they're so close. I was thinking that it could be a Nunu ult diff, but we were able to still pick up the fight with the Jhin cast coming in clutch. 7 free rerolls seem amazing in this low gold spot for ourselves. Hopefully able to hit one of these at least pairs, or if not more. Random 5 cost and the 4 cost is just simply raw 9 gold. I believe the rerolls are more worthwhile in our spot right now. Let's see if he agrees. He thinks that the raw gold is going to be more worthwhile. Now, obviously, the raw gold helps you to make the econ thresholds. We have the high roll possibility for a Blitz 2 or a Jhin pair. Unfortunately, we do miss, but I assume he simply valued that, yeah, making these econ thresholds is going to be worthwhile in the longer run, as long as we're able to find a single Xayah. A lot of forecasts had been pulled out, and we were able to do so. And now we should be quite stable to consider our way to level 9, because our only upgrade is a Blitz 2 while we're sitting on the spare, which is quite unlikely, and the Storm Kench 2 is not going to do that much since we do not have the extra items for him just yet. And they're probably angling the possibility for itemizing the Jhin first, obviously. Now, thankfully have managed to stabilize from this kind of a spot, but we see there's Radiant, that's not the Radiant DB. I assume he might have missed, and there's Radiant Death Cap, but that's an Asol 1. So our pool is not the strongest, and this is the Robin's board running the very interesting Kaisa build there, so hopefully this is a free win for ourselves. New ult goes go to the backline, so Xayah is gaining a lot of sniper value right now, able to easily pick up the win against the Robin Songs, who had been tempoing. His item simply did not exactly work out. This is another Kraken and a Rageblade, I would assume. If you wanted, but let's see if you're going to opting to keep the red buff. Yeah, we're going to keep the red buff now instead of the collector. This Jhin simply has the possibility to execute, and I think it synergizes with the Dark Star execute in a little bit of a way as well. His reading, that's 8%, and I believe Collector is also about the same threshold. And we were able to high roll the Nunu 2 from the TK print, the Blitz 2. And that's definitely another form of a frontline for ourselves, reducing the cap, making the cap more expensive for these players. We see this People Glad level 8 Blitz 2 as well. Blitz 2 on level 8 seems to be the meta right here, and now we're going up against our nemesis Sappho, who does not have that Jhin, so we should have an advantage. Obviously, Rageblade for ourselves is not the best item for the Jhin, but he does convert that attack speed into attack damage, and we simply have more power due to a stronger itemization. The way has this worked out. Very aggressive level to just push right now, and considering the possibility for slotting into Dark Star, I assume, yeah, slotted in that Alessandro right there, which is fine to completely do so until we are finding a... Well, we have this new recruit, right? So we simply could be slotting in another sniper. We could be finding that Samira. Can also be just simply playing some Aura 5 cost Aura Morgana, which is completely cool as well. Find that Samira. So yeah, going into 3 sniper. Having the damage amp, even though red buff provides a little bit of that, it's mainly an attack speed item. So we're completely good with that, since Krakens are attack speed and mostly AD items, so damage amp is nicely synergistic with what we're lacking. Up against triple Warmog's mech now, that's not exactly the mech build you want to be seeing from the People Glad here. Did not find that ASOL either, so it seems that their game plan did not exactly work out, having to play around this Blitz. He does make it to the backline, but just in nick of time we were able to clear him up and secure that win for ourselves. Would have to scout if perhaps the lobby was more AP, but no, our tank items are exactly what we have found, and we're not too excited about this Giant Slayer. I would assume we're trying to fish for a naive for this Jhin for any kind of possibility, since that's going to be his strongest raw item. Also could consider a Deathblade, obviously, but finding that BT, which is going to be fine for this Blitzcrank right here. Nice positioning if they're able to clear up this Poppy now. Do we knock this Corki? It does not exactly in time, but this now the Riven makes it on our backline, so this is a little bit of a tricky positioning, but still you can see how this comp is performing against the strongest, believed to be strongest comps in a meta. Able to stake him down, even though we were right targeting the Ramos from right at the beginning, and that's a Bramble West Ramos, I believe, as well. Now here we have that Sappho has made it to double tank. Thankfully fighting his ghost here, but they have the double tank setup, do not have that much damage, and yeah, this is double wow. Nunu does hit our backline, but against the ghost I believe we should not have problems. We have that Blitz 2, they have Blitz 1, but with a TG nonetheless, the fight is quite close, and thankfully our Xayah is able to clear up their Xayah before, and we are able to secure the win right there. Definitely in a great spot to go for a potential win out. We see that, yeah, there's a Radiant Strikers fill instead of a DB onto this Corki. I believe that might have been a misclick from the player right there, since the DB simply it does provide so much value, even with the meme Biz build that triple DB is the true Corki Biz. Now able to push levels once again and looking for any form of a unit, slotting in the Karma right there and gaining the maximum value out of the Ahri. Find that Deathblade, so that's going to go into the Jhin right away. And going the last second swap to get this Nunu in front of the Robinson's Kai'Sa, who has drastically improved his itemization but still stuck on Riven 1 due to so many quirky Riven players in the lobby, and we are making easy work of him. Simply lacking in the frontline department for the Dark Star. Xayah not getting the reset since our Nunu is right there, and now we're hiding a Jhin too, and we're definitely in an amazing spot to win out. Interesting why he's keeping the Jax rather than they putting the TK in front of that position right there. Simply a safety net that could be considered, but still he's doing this last second swaps nicely, getting the Nunu right there, again going up against this Corki with a Bramble Ramos, and now with a Jhin 2. Now our Nunu does quite fast since it has the burst on their side, but we simply have too much value on our board and making a easy double kill for Wasian Iverson. Very well played game, recognizing the early game spot. We are fine to sack for this artifact. Then we simply are looking for any form of an econ augment, doing the undercut to secure that Nunu since it's so contested, and getting to roll before our contester. Then holding on to the pairs, finding that Xayah too, seeing that this is a green light since we have managed to preserve enough lives through our mid game, but still trying to play the strongest board, especially that early game. Picking up those 3 rounds was the key, so that we could sack a little bit if necessary, even though it's contested. Find a Xayah, get to level 9, and cap out the board from there. Also, the new recruit play, well spotted how we are able to immediately incorporate the power from it. And you can see the comp is extremely consistent going up against the other comps who simply do not have the highest cap potential this comp provides. I would like to thank you for watching. Hope that you learned something new, and we shall see you in the next one. Have a good one.